Hello. Today I stand before you to shed light on an issue crucial to our current form of government. The topic of term limits for Supreme Court justices are one thing that is very, very much hotly debated in our current society. Currently, as according to the Constitution, Supreme Court justices are on terms for as long as they are alive or fit, capable, and living. This leaves us with the current state of Supreme Court justices who are very old and outdated. Now, a lot of support for the Constitution does stem from the fact that these are the ground makings of our government, and this is what the forefront fathers of our government would have wanted. However, the topic of term limits comes with its sides, mainly the debate standing behind it being that of ethics, being that of age, and being that of diversity. The first issue we're going to talk about is that of age. Age is an extremely important portion in the debate behind term limits for Supreme Court justices. Every other position within our government has term limits. You have to be a certain age, you can't be over a certain age, you can only serve for a certain period of time. Why isn't that followed in our Supreme Court? Simply because of our Constitution. An amendment to this Constitution would be required through legislature. It would have to be proposed, written, and passed. However, it is possible an amendment to constitutional standard, is possible and has been done in the past. Age plays a very perplexing problem for us, as it makes it a very interesting question to how old can someone be before they stop making judgment, or should the younger crowd be allowed to take part judgment as they have more modern influence and more modern understanding of what is currently happening and how we should shape our current case decisions due to modern reasoning and modern economic surrounding. The second topic is going to be that of diversity. If you look at our current Supreme Court justice system, you can see a very blaring fact. There's very little diversity, and very little reflects our current entire national diversity range. Term limits will help this institute more diversity, as more people will be collected more often, and will help give us a wider range of influence and decision-making abilities and opinions from people with different backgrounds who've experienced certain things that will 100% affect our current court case decisions. This is an insanely important thing to guarantee that we are respecting the opinions and backgrounds of all members of our current society, as diverse as we are. The third argument is going to be that of ethics. Ethics plays an extremely important part in the moral decisions behind our government. Current people in standing are chosen by governments, and they are voted on by Congress. This leaves very big room for ethical deficiencies, like that of being a paid chosen candidate by the president and allowing just basically free input into one of the 11 Supreme Court justices who run our country and decide the constitutional decisions that we make. This is not good, as very much code of ethics needs to be written by the Congress and instituted into the Constitution, with the new revolving door of that term limits will create for Supreme Court justices. This revolving door can be solved, however, through methodical and very smart manufacturing of when these term limits will be ran. It will take learning, time, and experience to figure out. However, that's what we do as a country. Many people will argue, however, that term sentences will be very difficult to truly initiate, and that long-standing indispensable knowledge from long-standing Supreme Court justices is incurable. However, that does not mean, term limits does not mean that Supreme Court justices cannot stay on forever. However, it just implies that voting will occur on whether or not a Supreme Court justice should be allowed to stay. This gives a major impact on governmental standing back to the people of our country, as we have a direct ability to vote on who is making the court decisions at the very top level of our our judicial branch. Giving more power back to the people will help bigger governmental understanding and have more trust in our government, which is something that is currently at its lowest in American time. These are all reasons why we should support and the move towards term limits for our current government and current judicial Supreme Court justices. as age is merely not a factor of understanding, sometimes you get to an age where you're too old and you don't understand the current status. This is a problem as it becomes a problem to rebut why we should imply term limits to our Supreme Court justices. So, in conclusion, Supreme Court justice decisions on whether or not there should be term limits are not merely a matter of policy, but a fundamental step towards fortifying the principles of our democracy and helping us become a stronger, more fundamentally understanding government. Ethics, age awareness, and diversity are all key roles into deciding why we should or should not have term limits for our Supreme Court justices. Thank you very much, and that was my presentation.